What's up, guys? It's Paul Espy here.
Andres Jimeno here.
And Gabbie Marriott here.
And I'm going to start the ball rolling straight away because I need to get this off my hefty chest. I'm disgusted with the Tiafo, the Tsitsipas, and the Zverev incident. Please, somebody fight with me. All three should get banned. Boom.
I think they're going to get banned anyway. The problem is not to get banned, is how much impact the ban is really happening for them. Because if they're going to ban them with a small amount of money, for them really is not that much impact on the behaving.
Yeah.
And I'm 100% sure that they're going to send an apology, because ATP is always forcing them to apologize publicly. But I'm detecting that there is a lot of tension lately. It's the end of the season. They have been playing so many matches so far. The last points of the season are really very important for some of those players that they can get into the Masters. And there is affecting a lot of money and bonuses, etc. And I think the tension is up. And that's why they lost their mind at the end of the season. Yeah.
Do you think the tennis season is too long? Do you think that's why they're getting this aggro towards the end of the season and everyone's exploding? Could that be an element in it?
I'm 100%. There is probably other explanations, and I know that there is some referees that they have like kind of a reputation, and then already the players are looking at them to the millimeter and trying to find an excuse to relieve tension during the matches, to try to get back into the match. But 100% agree with Paul, this is not acceptable. We are in a generation now of people, especially the youngest, where they are looking at the highlights on podcasts, on social media, on TikTok, etc. And unfortunately, no one is going to look at the resume of the match. They're going to look at the insults from Mr. Tiafo to the referee, to the Mr. Zverev, etc. So the impact on the young generations is massive.
So let me just throw in something there, because you said a couple of things which I really want to take issue with. One thing you said is about the umpires are kind of being scrutinized, etc., and are they being less favorable to one than another player, etc. Right. Let's not start with Tiafo. Let's start with Zverev. Zverev was proven to be wrong for the way that he behaved. It double bounced, and the F-bomb was used quite a lot by Zverev, right?
Yeah.
So the umpire was right. When the roles are reversed and the umpire, because umpires make mistakes, when the roles are reversed and the umpire gets it wrong, the players are very, very aggressive about, I'm going to lose money, I'm going to lose this, you're ruining it for me, blah, blah, blah. So how does it work when somebody like Zverev, and by the way, I just want to say for the record that none of the three that we're going to be talking about do I have anything but respect for generally, but these last 2 days have been astonishingly bad. And we're not even going to broach the issue of Paula Badosa and what she did, because what she did was horrific. Right? Don't know, do you aware of what she did?
What did she do? I was about to...
Oh, no, I knew you.
What did she do?
You know.
No, I didn't see it.
Okay, well, all I'm going to say is using a chopstick in a Chinese restaurant inappropriately. Oh, okay.
But this is again social media.
And there was another social media incident with the...
Magdalena Linette as well. So you've got all of these things where players have actually made horrific errors in terms of the way that they behave, and what's going to happen to them? Money is not going to work.
No.
If you fine them, it's not going to work.
What happen if I don't know, this is easy to say but difficult to implement, but in other sports like in football, if you get a warning, a red card, that implements that you cannot play on the next match. and then there is like depends on how bad is your action on football, and they ban you for 1, 2, 3 matches. Depends on how much affects to the global image of the sport.
So would you say how many tournaments? So look, for me, the Tiafo incident was the worst example I've ever seen.
Yeah.
That's been on a TV. We've seen worse. We've seen McEnroe doing. Sorry, not worse.
No.
We've seen McEnroe smash the ice and it goes up into the King of Sweden's lap, etc.
Yeah.
McEnroe never used FU, FU, F.
No.
What Tiafo did was the worst thing, and I've been involved. You've been involved in it 45 years,
Yeah.
right? You know, your father would be rolling in his grave right now, I'm sure.
100%.
Right. I'm asking you as a friend. How would your father have reacted to what he saw from Tiafo the other day?
Well, luckily I've been growing in a family where respect for the game was just a principle, and I'm still following, and I'm trying to implement that with the players that I'm teaching. And well, that will be something that he will be really not believing what he was saying. And lucky you were talking about McEnroe, because at that time when McEnroe was the bad boy and everybody was on top of him, yes, he was shouting. Yeah, he was inappropriate, using the verbal abuse, but not using bad words. And in that time, that was like, oh my God, yeah? But like you say, he never used really swearing on the way that he was talking. And yes, the Tiafo scenario is like probably the worst I ever seen. But for me, the impact is what is important. It's like how big this is going to be in social media, and how this is going to. I was with my players this morning and they were talking about that. Oh, did you see that? Did you see that?
Yeah, it would have been the buzz.
They never talk about the passing shot or the cross-court patterns or anything else. And this is what worries me more, you know? Really the impact on the new generation, more than, okay, there's a disrespect between two adults in a scenario, and you will probably apologize, he will get a fine, but the impact on the tennis is, young generations is like, if he can do it, I can do it.
Well, we even had the example of Rublev here, when he shouted in the
100%.
linesman's face.
Yeah.
And that was when he hadn't even lost or anything.
No.
And then he got kicked out.
Yeah.
Disqualified.
Imagine. Well, that was at the end of the match when Rublev finished. So it was kind of smart to do that when the match is already, because otherwise he will be completely disqualified in the spot.
Yeah. There's been brewing this.
Yeah. Now, I don't know because I'm not following, but did ATP already say something about it? Did already send any?
I don't know. I haven't seen that much.
I mean, I think he's been given a fine. He's come out on social media. He posted immediately, in fact, about how badly he behaved, and it wasn't him, and that's not the way he is, etc. Which I agree with. But have we got to a stage now where the younger generation just think that you can do whatever you want and say whatever you want, and a little apology at the end of it is how you're going to get away with it? He'll get a fine. I'm sure he'll get just a fine. I'm furious about it because I feel it's the authorities being undermined to the point where, in the same way we get questioned about what we do with the kids, because it's always the same argument now. Oh, I'm just asking. I just want to know. We've got your best interests of. We've got the best interest of the player, the best interest. We're trying to create values. We talk about it during Ball Kids about creating values. But here is a situation now, and Rublev. I'm so glad you brought up Rublev, because I was horrified by that last year as well, and that was here. And I was back there, and so were you as well. I was back there when it was all going off in the back of this of the tournament, and I'm thinking, but you can't threaten somebody. You can't threaten. What world do you live in where if somebody came up to you on a street and did something similar, that you wouldn't basically try and kill him or knock him out, sorry? And yet he put his racket in his face and was, I don't know, I don't speak Russian, right? But what Tiafoe did, if you did that on the streets, what would you expect the umpire, well, a normal man to do?
Well, this is funny you mentioned that because depends on which country you are. If you do that, you are gone. Literally, because...
do that here. I mean,
yeah.
I'd love to have seen what would happen if you did that here. My goodness.
Yeah.
But we're focusing too much attention on Tiafoe, and I obviously I've mentioned Zverev, but we've not mentioned Tsitsipas. Now, Tsitsipas kind of... I like the way he tried to argue the issue, but again, he was in the wrong.
Yeah.
He was in the wrong, and his argument was, well, other people do it, so why shouldn't I? Okay, so my argument to that was, for 6 years at the beginning of your career, you did have nothing but coach, father, to the point where we've changed the rules because of people like you. You weren't moaning then, were you? Like, it's just, the rules are set to try and, not necessarily keep order, I don't want to say keep order, but to make things right and correct.
Yeah.
And if you want to change the rules, see if you can do it. Tsitsipas has got it now, which I totally disagree with. On-court coaching should not be allowed, in my opinion. I don't know what your view on that is. I think you probably would disagree with me.
Yeah.
I don't think it should be allowed because one of the beauties of our sport has always been that the person on that court has got the ability to problem solve. And by having a coach coming onto the court or being able to coach at the side, it just implies that, like in boxing and other things and football, that people can't problem solve. You need to employ somebody who's going to help you problem solve. And that annoys me about our sport. Our sport had that beauty, that purity, where that person on court had to figure it out. And now, it's not. You basically play, and it's like how good your team is. And then you've got numpties who I won't name the name, but certain French coaches, right, who literally align themselves with very famous players. And dare I say it, did the coaching that he was giving to Serena.
So you mentioned now.
I haven't mentioned the coach. I haven't mentioned the coach. But we know what this is. God, she's the greatest player of all time. She doesn't need your help. You can't help her. But you've basically managed to get her she got a warning and then subsequent disqualification. It shouldn't be allowed. We should ban it. I get so angry.
Did you see, just changing the subject slightly, Rune, when his mum told him to cover the backhand, and then he was really sarky.
Yes.
Well, I did an interview yesterday, as you know, with a WTA coach, and he disagrees with me as well. But I understand it because you obviously you're involved in that kind of thing, and you want to help. I get it. You want to help, and some of the best things that we've ever seen in tennis in the last 10 years. Kazatkina on that court playing against Garbine Muguruza when the coach came on and said what he said. Beautiful, fantastic, wonderful, amazing. Okay, are we thinking about the coach or the player? Because I'll tell you now, if she'd have come back and won that match without his help, we'd have been lauding her instead of her coach. Where's he now? She's top 10 in the world. Where's he? Boom.
Anyway, back again to the subject of the tension. Yeah, because that will be for another podcast.
You're going to have to lean back, by the way, because you keep banging the table.
No, because I'm trying to look at you. Even Carlos Alcaraz the other day was arguing with the referee because with the umpire. Sorry, we don't have referees.
We don't.
With the umpire because the time and etc. So really, there is umpires that they are more strict and they give a little bit more margins, and that creates also on some players having this bias for some of them and another, and then automatically as soon as something happens, they're gonna go against. I have nothing but respect about the profession of being an umpire. I know many of them, this is not an easy job.
No.
You really need to be very prepared. You really need to know all the rules to the perfection. You cannot make mistakes because you are on the spot there. You know, the people is looking at your mistakes all the time. So big respect for them, first of all. And I still think that end of the season puts extra pressure on the players, and that extra pressure is creating this tension on court for many reasons, you know, especially because I think they've been playing for 9 months now, in a row, non-stop, with very few weeks of preparation in the middle, for not too many breaks, especially on the mid-range of the circuit. Like say, I'm not talking about the top 5, but even those, and they're playing so many matches with no big rest.
Andres, I'm sorry, I'm going to disagree with a little bit of what you just said, just a little bit, and I'm fighting against you with reference to a British player. After the US Open, a certain British player who should remain nameless, Jack Draper, right, said that the schedule was too much and that it was too extreme, blah, blah, blah. Do you know how many matches Jack Draper's played this year?
No.
44.
Wasn't he injured though?
But what I'm getting at is 44 matches. A year is 365 days. These guys will train out of season, obviously, as well. I understand that. 45 matches in a season and you're complaining about the season?
Okay.
Come on.
How many complaints we have about Mr. Draper on court complaining about the referees and the calls?
We're talking about a lot of them. This is rant central, isn't it? Well, look, it's an opportunity to really sort of to get the debate going with these guys. Okay. I'm sure, because hopefully we'll get some feedback. You know how passionate I am about the respect in the sport, and I just that Tiafo thing killed me. It just killed me.
Okay, that's a good debate for everyone. I hope you guys enjoy the conversation we had. Yeah, and let's keep bringing up more controversy.
We told you I want to make this R-rated. We'll get there. We'll get there.
So, it's that time of year again. We are 2 weeks into our Ball Kid training program, and so far it's been incredible. We have so many new applicants. It's very exciting. And on the first training session, we had a special guest.
Yeah, definitely. It was amazing to have 2 Grand Slam winner, ex-number 1 in the world. She's training in our facility at the moment. Planning to travel a little bit more before the season is finished. The kids were so happy because we had the visit on the first official session of the Ball Kid Training 2025 of Simona Halep. And she's really very happy to help every time that she's around here. And she did that last year also. And she came to give some nice words for the applicants, for the future ball kids, and they were all excited to see her. So
and parents.
And the parents.
Yeah, parents were really excited
also,
too.
yeah.
And parents didn't know. Obviously, it was a surprise. Yeah. So a lot were a bit annoyed they dropped their kids off and didn't stay.
Yeah. Anyway, and this second session already we're starting with all the techniques, all the skills. And hopefully in a couple of more sessions, these kids, they will be ready to jump into court with the proper matches. Yeah.
So at the moment we're around about, I think we've nearly hit the 200 mark for applications for Ball Kids. So we've got around about, if I'm not wrong, about 90 that are they've never done ball kidding.
Correct.
These were the ones that got the privilege of meeting Simona the other day. Can you imagine? I mean, I was thinking about this because, as you know, I was on court with the tournament. Can you imagine you're a parent or you're those ball kids and you go to the first one and you just think, oh, I'm going to train to be on court with these players X, Y, whoever, Medvedev, and then like on the first day, just when you first come in for the first time, 2-time Grand Slam champion. It just I wish I was a kid sometimes. I really do. If I was a kid, I'd be there every year.
And I have to say that she's very, very, very approachable, and she always has a smile on her face when she's doing all these things. So we're very happy to have her here in our facility, and we are trying to help her as much as possible to recover where she belongs, which is on the top of the WTA ranking.
And if Andres does his job to the level that me and Gabbie hope that he will, we'll hopefully get an interview with her for this.
I will try.
He's going to try his best, but don't forget she's a full-time tennis player, and she's got commitments of her own. But that would just be amazing.
We'll try our best.
And then following from Ball Kids, I mentioned that we did a couple of tournaments, and we've done several tournaments. I don't want to miss anything. So when I do miss something, please jump in. So I'll start with, in Abu Dhabi, we've done now 2 red level tournaments in Raha Garden School.
Schools, yes, correct. Then we also had a green level tournament in Cricket Club.
That was an Evo tournament,
yes,
so a starter tournament.
Correct.
A green tournament in Wellington International as well.
Yeah.
2 adult tournaments with Simona Halep being there that day. I don't want to have missed anything.
This last weekend we had
Red Bull Galaxy event.
a Red Bull Galaxy event. Mm-hmm. I mean, we are very, very, very proud of how good is the registration on those tournaments. And remember, in our first podcast, we were talking about how important it is to create scenarios where everyone has a place where to compete on the right level without the stress of being exposed to a tournament where the level is too high for you. And this is what we are trying to give to everyone, the right level competition scenarios so they can enjoy a little bit more the competition. Yeah?
And I want to mention, actually, Andres and Gabs, that this coming Sunday, we are doing our first ever Battle of the Emirates, which I'm really excited about. I know you two are as well, but this is something that we've wanted for certainly since I got back. We really wanted to do this.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to go?
Yeah, I mean, people here in Dubai, I cannot say about Abu Dhabi because there is Coach Bakari organizing, but people here in Dubai is so excited about it, and they are already preparing and customizing the rackets for the event. So Abu Dhabi, get ready for that because these players here in Dubai, they are ready to beat you, and I'm telling you now, they're gonna win. I'm vouching for Dubai team 100%.
I think we should jump in for Abu Dhabi a little bit. They're also working hard. They have Bakari, Coach Bakari, who won our tournament with all the coaches.
Okay.
So he's an amazing player.
Okay.
He can give them tips. I think it could be closer than you think.
Okay.
Well, hang on. Gabbie just mentioned, so I'm going to come to you. I'm going to do this to Andres. Okay, I'm going to do this to Andres. So, Bakary has never lost a match in this company, and we are doing a shootout. Bakary, Baba, Ibrahim, Dudu, Mamadou, and Emmanuel. We're going to do tie-break 10s with all 4 of them. Who's going to win?
Oh.
Well, I'm telling you.
I said I'm going to ask her first.
No, that's tough, guys. That's so tough.
There's not a. It's so clear.
Ibra.
Ibra is going to win.
Yeah, Ibra.
Oh, really?
I think so too.
Do you know what? I'm going to go against you guys. I'm going to say that Bakary is still going to remain.
Okay. Let's see.
Clark, I know, by the way, thinks that it's going to be Emmanuel.
No.
Ooh, so we're all pretty much.
He shit on his pants on the important moments. Yes, I'm saying it on the podcast because he disappointed me in every single tournament on the finals, and I bet for him 3 times, and he let me down 3 times. No more.
Okay.
All right. Okay. So none of us are going for Mamadou. None of us are going for Dudu.
He's still too fresh.
Okay.
I don't know Dudu well enough.
Okay. I don't think Dudu. I think he. The only thing that I think Dudu's got is that he'll be the one that cares the least.
And I know Clark is going to say, why you are not putting MK on this equation? Because he's probably one of the favorites of Mr. Francis. Because he is a very consistent player also. Very consistent.
I'm more than happy to make it more than just the four of them, but those four have kind of put themselves there because of all the hitting they do. They hit with all the professionals. MK is amazing, and I'm sure there are others that I've not mentioned, but those four are kind of there's a walk, there's a banter, there's a feeling that those four are the.
No feeling for me. No feeling for me. Alas.
I'll do for that, I think. So something different and something new for this week that we're going to do is I was very, very fortunate to run a what would you call it? An interview. I don't want to say a podcast. A chat with a very good friend of ours. Who he is a touring professional tennis coach. He's currently touring with the rather beautiful Zarina Diaz. I think you all know I've got a soft spot for Zarina. Mainly, by the way, not just because she's beautiful, but she came and did the first Kids Day that I was actually, I was running that Kids Day. It was the first one that I'd ran, and she was the first person who came to do it. So he's touring with her. He was formerly with the Kazakhstan team in general. We had a very candid and very, very good chat. It lasted a hell of a lot longer than we expected, over an hour. So our incredible editors behind the cameras are going to have to work their wonders, because I didn't talk all the time. I don't think I did speak that much. I know I am right now, but I think I did let him do all the talking.
All right.
I actually did. You told me some of the questions you asked as well, and they're really good. I'm a little bit picky with my questions, but they're really great questions.
Honestly, I thought they were filming the Titanic, but because they spend here so many hours. But anyway, right. Let's see.
Guys, just to pre-warn you, okay, when it comes to a Gabbie interview, guys, just leave. I apologise when I say
Why?
you're going to ask them about what food they want and what favourite colour.
No, I never asked favourite colour. We asked, we're coming to your house for dinner. What are you making?
Yeah.
That's a good question.
Don't you support
You want me to tell you what?
What would you make?
I will probably do one of my secret recipes, orange salmon with those caramelized onions, and oh my god.
The passion in that answer.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah.
Oh my god.
So you have an interview, yeah? Okay.
If you come to mine, I'm ordering Deliveroo. So there we go. But and that just was one of the questions, Gabbie. Like, let's be honest, there were some weird ones. Like there was nothing tennis.
There was quite a lot of tennis, but we wanted to keep it a little bit more candid and more natural, not just tennis heavy.
Yeah. Okay.
I wanted her to do the interviews because obviously she's prettier than us by a mile. She's got a great speaking voice. Everything about her is better than us, basically, at doing that kind of thing. And then when she showed me the questions, I was like,
and she can speak English, not like us.
What? Anyway, Paul's got a great interview. You should watch it. We're breaking into segments because it's really long, so it's a treat. You're going to get 2 questions each podcast.
But just so you know, like I said, it's really interesting and informative. This guy's travelled the world. He's travelled to Grand Slams. He was at Wimbledon, French Open, US Open, Fed Cup, you name it. He's done it. Boom. Fascinating.
And if you were going to go to his place for dinner, he would do barbecue. I asked him after. Yeah. So if you're not going to get that info in the...
Normal.
Right, so we have Jamie Kirkman here. He's a very good friend of mine. He is, I don't really want to go through his resume, but a WTA and ATP touring tennis coach. We became very close this time last year. We've been in contact throughout the year, and he was kind enough to come and join us today. And Jamie, thank you so much. In fact, I think I'll do this. Thank you for coming to join us.
Asking me.
Yeah, I mean, so look, you're here with Zarina at the moment, Zarina Diaz. How's the transition? Because when we met, you were working with the Kazakhstan men's team, and now you're with Kazakhstan Zarina Diaz. How did that happen? How did that go about?
So last year I started with Bibit in pre-season, which was here in Dubai, and we worked together until March, just after Indian Wells. And Zarina was literally coming back from injury and wanted to start playing again. And the federation asked if I would work with her up until Fed Cup, which was against Japan in Tokyo. And that was just to be a month long. And Zarina and I got along, and she wants to play tennis at the highest level again. And so, yeah, we're 7 months in, I guess.
And I think we've spoken away from the camera about this, but Zarina actually many years ago came to do a Kids Day, which is how I remember her. She came to do a Kids Day during DDF. So when you told me that you were working with her, I was very excited. So what kind of daily routines are you having to go through then, working with somebody who's been plagued by injuries?
Probably a little different to what most players on tour are doing. We stick with pretty much one-a-days. So one hitting session or one on-court session, one gym, and then massage or physio, and that's our day. So our sessions are between 90 minutes to 2 hours on court, and then in the gym can go between, again, an hour to 2 hours depending on what the program is. And it's just really trying to, I guess, limit the load on the body. She spent, a good part of probably 5 years of her career out injured. So it's tough.
And what was her highest ranking again? She
31 in the world.
What's 31 in the world?
Yeah.
And she was one of the best juniors in the world?
Yeah, she won. I've learned all this since working with her, but she won Eddie Herr as a 14-year-old, so that probably puts her as one of the best juniors on the planet. And then I think she transitioned to pro tennis and broke into the top 100 when she was 17 or 18. So, yeah, she's had a long career.
Yeah, and how old is she now?
30, currently 30, 31 next week.
31, wow, okay. So right, Jamie, I've got loads and loads and loads of questions that I'm going to ask, which I tried to be controversial is not the right word, but I wanted to ask questions that I figure people might find interesting, etc. I didn't want to just do boring ones, so I'm going to start at the top. I've got to put my glasses on because I'm getting old. I'm so sorry about that. So I'm going to start with, as somebody who has been in the game for 30 years, touring with pros was never something I was ever interested in. So I'd like to know, what is the best part about being a touring professional tennis coach?
So I'm probably able to say that I've literally worked with every demographic in tennis, from 3-year-olds to 83-year-olds. I've beginner ladies, beginner men. I've taken kids from 8 years of age, and we've got to the semis or final of events like the Eddie Herr and Orange Bowl. And I guess when I set out coaching was always to work on tour. That was like I couldn't play at Wimbledon, so I was going to go the next best thing, which was to coach. And I guess the best part is you're around these amazing athletes every day, and you're in the gym and you see Novak or you see Rafa, and their work ethic, and behind the scenes. We've spoken about some of the players who have a bad name on tour, but they're just these nice guys or nice girls, and yeah, it's very different.
Okay. And then what's the worst part of it then?
Getting to week 32 or 33 of being on the road for the year is probably the worst part.
But surely you're thinking about how you're going to have a bit of a holiday, no?
Look, the tennis tour is so hard because we don't necessarily have a down season. I think tennis is getting longer and longer, and the organisations at B at some point have to do something about it. If we want these players to survive like Tom Brady or LeBron James, they can't be playing 40 weeks of the year.
But then, how to counter argue that, when you've had the three goats that we're obviously going to talk about at some point, when you have these three guys who have had such a huge careers, including Nadal, who's been injured half of it, like it's kind of that contradicts what you're saying in terms of the length of the season.
Yes, but if you look at Nadal's career, I mean, he's spent probably 5 years of it on the sidelines. Federer was very lucky, obviously great DNA, that he got through to 35 or 36. And I think in his documentary, I heard him say that he thought he was untouchable, and then he got his first injury, and then the rest fell in behind. Or you look at an Andy Murray or a Stan Wawrinka, I think the only reason those guys have continued to play is merely because of they love it. And they're prepared to put their body through torture. On the women's side, I guess Serena's the only one really, or Venus, that have played until late 30s.
Right. Trying to think of any now. Kamiko Date came back, but
yeah, if you go back, obviously Margaret Court played for a long time. Yvonne Goolagong played into her late 30s. I think she had a child, and then came back to play. But it's just so hard.
So you'd say the length of the season. I mean, I've usually when I've spoken to anybody, it's been travel and things like that. Because a lot of people will assume the traveling's great, you get to see the world, but you see an airport and a hotel. I would have thought.
Do, and I think for outsiders that don't know pro tennis, is we have so many changes every week. We go from time zone to hotel to food. To balls, to surface. Like, there's no surface. You don't go to one facility and it's the same surface week after week. Okay, grass is probably as close, but there's faster grass courts and slower grass courts.
Yeah.
The balls are a massive change every week. Some balls are heavy, some are light. Like, it's so hard on the body, and these players have to keep adjusting every week. It's not like soccer where they go home after the game and they get 3 nights at home and then they go away for 3 nights. It's literally, I'm an Aussie, so I'm very different, but we literally leave in January and don't get home until mid-November. And then you start the cycle again.
I mean, that was something that Kyrgios said, wasn't it? That for Aussies, it's so different. You can't just pop home for a couple of days and then go, because it's a huge sort of block out of the time schedule that the Australians, and certainly if you're even further in New Zealand, then it's a nightmare for you.
Yeah, I mean, for me to get home, it's a full day.
And I just want to say, by the way, that if he uses soccer again, we're going to edit that one out. I warned you, no, and I'm joking.
That's okay.
Okay, awesome. So how would you describe an average tournament day? You've already told me the training day. So an average tournament day with Zarina, with one of the guys, whatever.
All varies. Obviously, we get the time schedule. So if you're first on, it's 11 o'clock in the morning, and you get on site at probably 9, do a gym session or a warm-up in the gym, 30-minute hit, something light to eat, and then you go out to play at 11. It's a little harder as you're third or fourth on. An example, in Beijing last week, or not last week, 2 weeks ago, we were last match on. So by the time we finished, or by the time we got on court, it was 5:30 in the afternoon. And the first 2 matches went for 3 sets. So it's tough, right? Like, we turned up and hit at 1 o'clock. But then you've got 4 hours of this downtime. So I actually jokingly said to a friend yesterday, it's the worst one. You may as well not hit. The tournament would be better off going, okay, we're going to give you a 20-minute warm-up, and then you play.
Can you give me a logical argument as to why, even to this day, tournaments are not starting at 9 a.m. or 8 a.m. in the morning? I mean, do tennis players need specifically to have a lie-in? I don't get it. As somebody who loves playing early in the morning, and then you see the scheduling at, say, Australia, where it's so much cooler in the morning as well. Get the players on at 8 o'clock.
I don't have a logical reason. I think it's just that's the way it's been, and that's the way it'll always be. I mean, it's an interesting one, right? As a coach, if I had to choose, I'd want first match every time.
And then as a coach, would you mind? Because I know the argument would be, well, if I'm on at 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock, I've got to wake up at 6 o'clock to do my warm up, etc., etc., etc.
Look, I think most of the players probably like a little lie. And it's hard. Look, on their side as well, is when you're changing time zones, it's tough.
Yeah, as an outsider, you don't take that into consideration. I mean, something which I've always found quite astonishing is here. They go from here to Indian Wells, and I mean you couldn't get much further in terms of the distance between one big tournament and another.
And that's a tough one to go from here to there.
Nice. Well, but the conditions must be quite similar.
Yeah, at that time of year it is.
I guess so. To steal somebody else's joke, he's Australian, so his cuisine favourite is prison food.
Oh, come on.
Okay, and bye
Let's
guys.
finish. Thank
See you next week.
Goodbye. See you next week.